Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Podcast. It is Wednesday, and we've got 8 games to choose from. Some pretty fun ones, if I do say so myself. We are going to be getting into about 5 bets that I have here with a ladder play and a same-game parlay as well. Coming off of a 1-3 night, not loving the way we didn't continue the heater that started on Monday with a nice start to the week. We lost 2.2 units, which brings us back down to minus 0.2 on the week after winning 2 full units on Monday. CJ McCollum was the only bet we hit. Austin Reeves did not come to play in that one at all in any way, shape, or form. 12 points and 2 boards. Utah and New Orleans was a big miss as New Orleans just took Utah to the woodshed, man, and just spanked him. Mikal Bridges also did that to the Knicks, who didn't decide to play defense until the last 5 minutes or so of the game. OG spent almost no time on Mikal Bridges for some reason. Not sure what the game plan was for Tibbs with just Dante DiVincenzo spending all that time guarding Mikal Bridges, which made absolutely no sense when you have one of the best defenders in the league on your team at guarding that exact type of player. So we move on here to continue on in the season. 20.7 units on the player props, 9.1 total here, as we had some trouble with the sides and totals obviously all season long, but we are only bringing you player props here in this one. So let's get right into it and waste no more time. Duna Murray back here on his bullshit, over 26.5 points, minus 117 on Caesar for the full unit. And then you can see there that we are laddering him to 30 plus points so that you can take an alt line on FanDuel to get 30 or more, 0.3 units on that, and 35 plus points, plus 420. Put 0.1 unit on that. So if you're betting $50 units, that's a $5 bet, right? If one unit equals $100 for you, that's a $10 bet. Those are just a little bit less so that we control these units, mitigate our losses. These are not things as likely to happen, obviously. That's why you get such good juice. So we dwindle the units that we put on them a little bit. Why is he going to do this? Playing Golden State, not good against point guards. We know that. There's especially nobody good to defend a tall, long point guard like DeJounte, who can get to the rim very, very well with the best of them, the best of any type of combo guard that you'll find. The Dubs have been pretty good defending the paint. They'll be all right with Draymond down there as well, but DeJounte is also taking about 7 threes above the break without Trae Young, which has led to those 27 points per game in 4 games without Trae. We just did this against Zach in a similar style game where a team giving up a ton of points at home, scoring a ton of points at home, and giving up a ton of points and assists and everything to point guards. Sacramento, same concept here with the San Francisco 49ers, the Warriors, the Dubs here. For DeJounte, it's really just the usage and the volume, man. The usage, which is the volume, and the volume of minutes. He's going to be playing another 35 to 36. He's the dude with the ball in his hands for the entirety of the game. I don't want to say that he's auditioning for a new team. I'm just asking the question and putting it out there in your heads to make you think it, because it does seem like guys like maybe D'Lo out in LA are realizing that like the trade deadline is going to be here in about 3 weeks, and not even actually, and that these dudes are potentially on the block. It is about 3 weeks. And so these last bunch of games, especially without Trae Young in there, might be a time to audition Duna Murray to get even more back for him. Not saying that he gives a shit. He's just going out there and taking what the coach gives him. But he's in a good matchup here with Golden State without really anybody to guard him out on the wing, right? Like, you're not putting Steph on him. Clay is too slow at this point. Brandon Podziemski is too small at this point. Jonathan Kuminga is too big, and you're not going to waste him and waste his rebounding essentially by pulling him so far from the basket that he has to guard Duna Murray. So we'll see. Maybe I'm not positive who the best matchup is. I guess Wiggins will probably be on Duna Murray. We know how his season has gone so far this year, so I like the matchup that he's got against the Dubs there. Number 2, we got Alpi Sengun. If you've been following along, we have not done great betting on him, but we're going for the third time's a charm, and we're going to take an over on the rebounds and assists. Minus 105 on DraftKings against this Portland Trailblazers team that is coming in after a really nice game against OKC in response to their 60-point smacking that they took the prior game that they played against OKC. Played really well last night, but now they're on a back-to-back, and we know what that means. They are terrible on defense on the back-to-back. They're terrible on defense in general. On the road, they're allowing the 5th most rebounds per game and the 5th most assists. That's basically everywhere they play, at home and on the road, but they are slightly worse on the road on defense. They allow the 5th most rebounds per game to centers over their last 15. And, Dominating's going to be in there. Duop Reith is going to be in there, and neither are going to be a good matchup for Sengun. Maybe on the boards, DeAndre Ayton, when he's actually out there, will be all right getting those defensive boards because he loves to pad his stats by standing under the rim and just grabbing things that come to his 7'1" self. But Alpi has been an absolute monster on the boards as well. over the course of the whole season. Now he's up to third in rebound chances per game at 22. He's really the main defensive rebounder, especially because Jabari Smith hasn't really been the rebounder that he was at certain points in the season. He's super inconsistent. And this is a really good opportunity for Albie to continue to dominate everywhere from like foul line down, right? And even when he pulled out to the 3-point line, that's where I see those assists coming into play for him, up at about 11 potential assists because he's the point guard. He's gone over this in his last 4 in terms of the assists because he's got 7 per game in those last 4, and they're at home where he averages a bit more rebounds and assists. Everything just working here for him in a really good matchup against the awful Portland Trailblazers. All right, we got the rook here, Brandon Miller. We're going to get ahead of this dude probably continuing to go off. I mean, it's hard to say we're getting ahead of it when in his last 3, he's averaging 25 a game and 6 boards on a 24% usage rate. But we're getting ahead of the fact that Terry Rozier's gone, and this 17.5 point prop probably continues to rise as Brandon Miller keeps going this season. So we'll take over the 17.5 now. It's near even money, so I love that. And Terry Rozier is in Miami, and that's a huge part of this. Now, they don't play in the exact same place on the floor, and they're not playing the, shooting the exact same type of shots. But Terry Rozier was taking 20 field goal attempts a game in January, team high. And Brandon Miller still over the course of the last 4 games has increased his shots, right? Doing all the math, Terry's shots have to go somewhere. And LaMelo and Miles Bridges are going to take plenty of them. But Brandon Miller is going to take a lot as well. So if you want to divvy up about 20 field goals a game, and maybe you want to dumb that down to about 15 or 16 because when all LaMelo and everybody has been in there, Terry's shots aren't quite as high, but they're still very high, and he's still taking the most on the team, even with LaMelo in the game. So like I said, if you got to divvy up 16-ish shots, let's give at least 4 or 5 to Brandon Miller in this one. And he's going to be great from the mid-range. He's going to be going up against Bojan Bogdanovic, who great offensive player still in his older age, but not going to be able to stay in front of Brandon Miller by any means. That's why Detroit's been allowing, actually, it's 5th most on the season, points per game to small forwards. They're actually allowing the 4th most in their last 15 because Bojan has been back fully, and he's the one guarding that area of the floor where Brandon Miller lives. So we're going to really feel good about his ability to get by Bojan, to hit the mid-range, to hit a couple threes, and even to get to the rim and maybe get a few free throws against Detroit, who just hemorrhages points, free throws, everything you want. Their defense is really, really bad. All right, let's go to bet 4 here with Chet Holmgren because I got to get a piece of the action of Chet between Victor Wembanyama. We're going to go over 15.5 points. I'm putting a half unit on it because I'm controlling myself here. Like, I want to go balls to the wall and just be like, oh, this is going to be such a good game. Let me put Chet 20 points, Wemby 30 plus, da-da-da. Let's just be cool about it. Chet's coming off a back-to-back, and in those games, he only plays about 25 minutes a night, right? Even if he has got a great matchup against the Spurs team, who gives up like 3rd most points per game to centers, ton of rebounds to centers, everything you want. Just saw Joel go for 70. Everybody's been eating from the center position against the Spurs. All that said, 25 minutes is 25 minutes, and I think Chet's going to get the volume of 10 to 15 shots for sure, so I like him to get 16 points on that. I think we're getting great value as well. That's sort of the final point here, is that he's gone under in his last 6, and he's had 15 points 3 times in those 6. So just one more point that he would need, and those were some good matchups that he's played. He's had some bad teams he's played, but he's also played the Clippers, also played the Timberwolves, right? And just shot really poorly against Utah. So with all that said, like, he just needs one more point than the times he was shooting really poorly with a similar volume. It's not like his volume goes down when he plays fewer minutes. It's just that his minutes are fewer in these back-to-back situations. So everything said here, he should be getting 16 points. I'm just putting the half unit on it because I want a piece of that action. That is going to be a really, really fun game between the top 2 Rookie of the Year candidates. Chet's at minus 105 right now. Best odds for him to win Rookie of the Year. And Wemby is at minus 120 for him to win it. So very, very close. Wemby's got the door open for Chet. So we'll see if he can walk through it in this one. All right, we got last bet here with Bam Adebayo, as Kendrick Perkins call him. Same game parlay, 10 plus boards, 4 plus assists, and Miami to win this one. That's plus 134. We've got 0.6 units on it because I'm at about 3.4 units before this bet, so I want to get up to an even 4. I'll show you that here on the last slide. I want to start showing you guys a bit more of how much I'm betting plus how much I can win max profit back. Also, weekly and maybe monthly, and definitely monthly, totals on the record and the units. I want you to see the long-term game here and why there's a method to the math that we use for how many units we're putting on things. This 0.6 seems super random, but as I said, there's a very clear reason that I'm putting 0.6 on it, especially when you add up the way that the max profit works. I want to usually get at least have the ability to make about 1 more unit than I bet if all of my bets hit. Cool. That's something we'll talk about also in a more evergreen video moving forward. In this one, Bam is going up against Memphis, who is no longer good against centers. They have been giving up a bunch of points to centers and a bunch of rebounds. In fact, points and assists a little bit fewer than rebounds, but both of them are very available against this team since they've just basically changed into this version of the Memphis Grizzlies, right? Over their last 4 games, centers are getting the 4th most rebounds per game against them. And in this one, Bam's just going to have his way with Triple J and Xavier Tillman, which he's done in the past. The last 2 times he played against this team went clean off, double-doubles in all those games. The 10-plus rebounds should be pretty good for him with the amount of rebound chances that he's getting as well. So he's the main rebounder right now. There's no Jaime Jaquez in, who is the second best rebounder for them, who was the only other dude who played alongside Bam, but also wasn't getting much time with Jimmy in there. Jimmy's not taken away from his rebounds. In the last 4 games with Jimmy back, Bam has 18 rebound chances a game and 11.5 boards, basically. So he's still playing all right below the free throw line. That whole area is his to work in. Obviously, Jimmy can come down and from the wing and do his thing going to the basket, but Bam is right there for those rebound chances on both sides of the floor, and he's the facilitator. He's also got 7 assists a game in his last 4 or so. So, yeah, he's continuing to go over this. I love just ticking it down to the 4+ assists for him to get us plus 134 on our money. And that is all the time I have for you. So let's run through the bets we've got here. You can see on the right top there, risk 4 units, max profit plus 4.9 units back. So we're going to look to make that 4.9 with the sweep, but we'll talk about that here with Duna Murray, 26.5 points. Need him to also go 30+ and 35+ for us to win all of those. That'd be wonderful there. Then we get Alpi Şengün over 14.5 rebounds and assists. Brandon Miller over 17.5 points as the Rook starts to get some more burn. Chet Holmgren over 15.5 points in the Rookie of the Year battle with Victor Wembanyama. And Bam Adebayo, same game parlay for him to go 10+ boards, 4+ assists. Miami to win that game against Memphis. Plus 134. Let's get it, y'all. We are tired of losing. We need to have another big night here so we can make sure that we stay on track to get, let's say, plus 3 units on this week. Look, if you end 3 units every week and you end up making 12 units a month, you're in a pretty good spot, man. That's not very common. So, like, I'm shooting for a little bit of the stars because we did lose 3.9 last week, 6.2 the week before. So we're still up, right? But we want to keep the weekly wins going. Subscribe to the page since I didn't say that yet. If you like what you're getting, we are going to come back here each and every weekday, and actually each and every day. I'm only missing about 1 day a week now for one mental health day. 6 videos though. Got the shorts with the best bets up. Also got Oaks with the college basketball. So if you are a hoop head, he just went 7-5. Feeling really good about the way that he's climbing back up on those units on the college basketball stuff. My man's working super hard, y'all. So give his videos a look as he continues to get better and grow with that stuff. Best of luck tonight. Let's get it. And until I see you next, happy betting.